there is a number on the calendar this year. February 17th. And already, somewhere, someone is writing it down like a secret. You have felt this before, the pull of a date that hasn't happened yet. A pressure behind the ribs. A tightening in the throat. As if the future were a door, and someone, somewhere, has already touched the handle. Think of the last time a number stopped you cold. A birthday that felt heavier than the ones before it. A year that turned over and somehow, without permission, turned something in you as well. That is not superstition. That is the body, remembering something the mind has not yet named. Nothing about the sky will change on that morning. No signal in the stars. No shift in the turning earth. And yet, the feeling will be real. Real as breath. Real as the weight of a held stone. Sit with that for a moment. Let it settle in the chest before we go further. A stone held in the palm does not change the hand that holds it. But the holding changes something. What is that weight? Where does it come from? And why does the mind reach for dates the way a hand reaches for something to hold in the dark? That is what we are going to sit with. Not the date itself, the reaching. Because somewhere beneath the surface of every sacred number, every turning point, every date circled in red on a wall calendar, there is not a message from the future. There is a question about the present, wearing a costume. And underneath the costume, if you look closely enough, you will find yourself standing there. Layer 1. The oldest layer. Beneath everything else. The human mind cannot hold raw time. Time without shape is unbearable, a river with no banks, a breath with no end. So the mind builds banks. It builds edges. A birthday. A new year. A last day of something. These are not discoveries. They are constructions, small, necessary architectures we build so that formless time becomes a house we can live inside. Picture a child, standing at the edge of a very long hallway with no doors. That hallway is time, unmarked, uncut, endless in both directions. Now picture the same hallway, but someone has painted a line on the floor, every 30 feet, and written a word above each line. Then. Now. Soon. The hallway has not changed. But the child can walk it now. The child can breathe. That is what a calendar does. That is what a sacred date does. It is not a discovery about the universe. It is a mercy the mind gives itself. 30 years is a number with weight. Round. Heavy in the hand like a stone worn smooth by water. It sits close to the length of a generation, close enough that something old in the body recognizes it, even if the mind cannot explain why. A grandmother's lifetime folded into a child's understanding. A career, start to finish. A single long exhale. And when a mind meets a number like that, something old in us leans forward, not because the number holds power, but because we do. We are the ones who load the number. We are the ones who give it teeth. Consider how differently the same number lands depending on who is holding it. To one person, 30 years is a stranger's math, distant, abstract, forgettable by evening. To another, standing at the edge of illness, or loss, or a life quietly unraveling, that same number becomes a wall they press their whole body against. The number never moves. The person holding it is what changes everything. This is the first truth, and it is the hardest one to sit with, because it takes the mystery out of the mystery. There is no external clock counting down toward February 17th. There is only the internal clock, yours, mine, everyone's, that has been counting down towards something, always, long before any date was chosen to hold it. Think of an hourglass sitting on a shelf, it's sand still, unmoving. It is not counting anything until a hand turns it over. That is what a date does. It is the hand. Not the sand. Not the fall of the grains themselves. You are the sand. You were falling before the date arrived, and you will keep falling after it passes, at exactly the same speed you always were. But this is only the surface. What waits beneath asks for a slower kind of looking. Layer 2. Numerology was never a window into the future. It was a mirror held up to the present. 7. 17, 30. These are not messages sent from somewhere beyond us. They are surfaces, polished, reflective, and what we find gleaming in them is always, only, ourselves. Think of the ancient astrologers, bent over their charts by candlelight, tracing the slow arc of planets across a black and silent sky. They were not reading the stars. They were reading their own hunger, for order, for meaning, for a shape to press against the chaos of a life. That hunger has not changed in 3,000 years. It only wears new clothes. New calendars. New dates typed into new machines, glowing in the dark of a bedroom at midnight. Here is something worth sitting inside for a moment. Every civilization that has ever kept time has also, eventually, invented a doomsday. A turning. A last age and a next one. The Maya had one. The Norse had one. Medieval Europe had several, one century after another, each one certain it was the final hour. None of them were wrong about the feeling. They were only wrong about where to place it, outside, in the sky, in the calendar, instead of inside, in the chest, where it actually lived the whole time. There is a strange comfort, if you let yourself feel it, in knowing this pattern is not new. You are not the first person to stand at the edge of a number and feel your own life reorganize itself around it. Somewhere, centuries ago, another person stood at another threshold, a solstice, a comet, a turn of a century, and felt exactly what you are feeling now. The date changes. The ache underneath it does not. That ache is old. Older than any prophet. Older than any book claiming to hold the secret of it. And once you see that, once you feel the weight of how old and how human that ache is, the date itself grows smaller. Not less meaningful. Smaller. The way a mountain grows smaller once you understand it is made of the same stone as the ground beneath your own feet. Notice, too, how these dates so often arrive during difficult seasons, wars, grief, the long gray stretch of not knowing what comes next. The prophecy is not the cause of the fear. The fear was already there, formless, and the prophecy simply gave it a shape to lean against. You think the pattern has fully shown itself. It has not. Not yet. Layer 3. And here the weight settles differently, lower, quieter, closer to the chest. The real turning points of a life do not arrive with a name. They do not announce themselves in advance. They do not sit on a calendar 3 months out, waiting patiently to be feared or worshipped. A phone call at an unexpected hour. A single sentence in a hospital hallway. A silence at a dinner table that lasts 1 second too long. These are the true points of no return. And almost without exception, they arrive sideways, unmarked, unannounced, indifferent to the date on the wall. Try to remember the day your life actually changed. Not a birthday. Not a new year. The real one. The one that mattered. Chances are it did not fall on a significant number. Chances are no one had circled it in advance. It was a Tuesday, maybe. Or a Thursday that looked exactly like every other Thursday until it didn't. That is how it almost always happens. Life does not consult the calendar before it turns. It is only afterward, only in memory, looking back with the strange, generous editing that memory always performs, that we draw the line and say, there. That is where everything changed. We build the monument after the fact. We place the flag on the hill only once the war is already over. So the date on the calendar is not a threshold the world is walking toward. It is a mirror we have chosen to stand in front of, for reasons that live inside us, not outside us. And here is the part that is hardest to say gently, so it will simply be said plainly. Anyone who tells you a specific future date holds power over your fate is not offering you knowledge. They are offering you a story, one that feels like control, in a life that so often feels like it has none. That does not make the offer cruel. It makes it human. It is one of the oldest offers there is. But a mirror dressed up as a window will eventually disappoint you, because you will keep looking through it for a future that was never actually there to see. What remains, once the window is understood to be a mirror, is not nothing. It is something quieter, and in its own way, larger. It is the recognition that you have always held more of the shaping than you were told. The date does not decide who you become on the other side of it. You do. Slowly. In rooms no one is watching. On mornings that will never be written into any prophecy. There is a strange kind of freedom hiding in this, if you let yourself reach it. If no external date holds the power to remake you, then no external date holds the power to ruin you, either. The threshold you are looking for on a calendar has, in truth, been inside you the entire time, patient, quiet, waiting only for your attention, not for a particular arrangement of numbers. So what do we do, then, with a date like this, heavy with meaning we ourselves have placed there? Not worship it. Not fear it. Sit with it. Here is one way. Not the only way. Not a secret pass to the few, simply a practice, open to anyone willing to sit still long enough to try it. On the morning of the date, before speech, before the phone, before the noise of the day begins, sit in stillness for 10 slow breaths. Let the room be quiet enough to hear your own inhale. Ask nothing of the future. Ask only this: what have I been carrying that is ready, finally, to be set down? Do not rush the answer. Some mornings, no answer comes at all, and that is its own kind of answer. A second practice. Take a single sheet of paper. Write one sentence, no more, naming what you hope is ending in your life. Do not explain it. Do not defend it. Let it be small enough to fold into one closed hand. Keep that paper somewhere private. Not to revisit it daily, only to know it exists, folded, waiting, the way a seed waits under soil without needing to be dug up to prove it is there. A third. Walk through your home and find one object that has outlived its purpose. Hold it. Feel its weight, its temperature, the story worn into its surface, the small scratch, the faded label, the dent from some forgotten fall. Then let it go, give it away, release it, place it in a box bound for somewhere else, as a small, physical rehearsal of what it feels like to close a chapter. The body learns what the mind only theorizes. Let the hands practice letting go before the heart is asked to do the same with something larger. A fourth. In the evening, light a single candle in a dark room. Watch it until the wonder fades, until it becomes, simply, a flame again, ordinary, small, doing only what fire does. That fading is the lesson hiding inside it. Meaning does not live in the object. It lives in the attention we choose to bring, for as long as we choose to bring it. When the candle becomes ordinary again, you have not lost something. You have simply finished paying attention. That, too, is allowed. A fifth, if you want one more. Speak the date aloud, quietly, once, and then speak an ordinary date beside it. Yesterday's. Tomorrow's. Notice that they sound almost the same in your mouth. Notice how little the syllables themselves carry. Notice what that tells you about the nature of thresholds, that the weight was never in the sound of the words. A sixth. Write down, without judging it, the very first fear that came to mind when you first heard this date mentioned. Read it back once. Then ask yourself, honestly, is this fear about the future, or is it about something already unfinished in the present, simply borrowing the date as a place to stand? Most fears, looked at closely enough, turn out to be about right now, wearing a costume marked later. A seventh. On the date itself, do one ordinary thing with unusual attention. Make a cup of tea and notice the steam curling upward, dissolving before it reaches the ceiling. Walk to a window and notice the particular quality of the light, the way it falls, the shadows it draws, the hour written plainly across it. Say one person's name aloud and mean it, the way you meant it the very first time you learned to say it. Let the sacred, if it exists anywhere, be found there, in the fullness of an ordinary hour, not in the promise of an extraordinary one. None of this bends what is coming. That was never the offer, and it was never the promise. What it offers instead is quieter, and harder to package, and harder to sell. It offers a way of standing inside your own life. Of meeting a symbol without surrendering to it. Of letting a date be a mirror instead of a verdict. This is not a technique. It is not a system to master or a secret to unlock. It is closer to a posture, the way a person might stand differently once they stop bracing for a blow that was never actually coming. Notice how the body carries itself differently when it is waiting for disaster, shoulders drawn up toward the ears, breath kept high and shallow in the chest. That posture makes sense for a body facing a real and present threat. It makes far less sense for a body facing a date on a calendar, a number with no hands, no weapon, no will of its own. This was never truly about February 17th. It was about the part of you that leans toward dates, toward numbers, toward thresholds, toward anything that promises a clean line between before and after. That leaning is not superstition, and it is not weakness. It is simply what it means to be a creature that measures its own life in order to bear it, a creature that needs, every so often, a place to stand and say, from here, something begins. The date will come. And it will pass, the way every other date has passed, the way every solstice, every comet, every turning of every century has quietly, eventually, become just another ordinary day on the far side of the fear. And the question underneath it, the real one, will still be sitting there the next morning, unanswered, patient, waiting the way it has always waited. Not what will happen to me, but what am I willing to become, on purpose, regardless of what the calendar says? Perhaps that unfinished question is the only sacred thing in any of this. Not the date. Not the number. The asking itself, the willingness to keep standing at the edge of your own life, and looking down, and wondering,